Welcome to the Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit Hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Good morning. Thank you for joining me today on the Hopefulist. It is Tuesday, July 30th, 2019. Got a little bit of a situation going on here at the house this morning. I actually was up and out pretty early. I caught the sunrise on the beach, Ship Bottom, Long Beach Island. It was beautiful and amazing. I have posted a picture on my Instagram page. If you would like to check it out, follow me at the _Hopefulist at Instagram. And you can check out that really cool shot I got this morning of the sunrise. One good thing about getting up early, you can catch those sunrises. So, the situation that I've got going on here at the house, when I got back from watching the sunrise, my neighbor was out on the porch watching the sunrise come up over our neighborhood, which is a little bit later than on the island when it comes up over the ocean. And she had mentioned that there was a seagull on the roof. It looks like there was a seagull that dropped a crab on top of her roof, and now they keep flying back and forth from her roof to my roof, her roof to my roof. So they're noisy. Like, I could hear the thud when the seagull landed. I think there's just a crab on her roof, but I think that they're kind of just going to my roof to wait her out because she's out there trying to shoo them away. But until she gets the crab, they're not going anywhere. I'm surprised they didn't take it with them, but they didn't. They will get it eventually, I'm sure. So, excuse me if I'm a little distracted. I've got a little bit of pounding walking around on top of my head. But we will soldier on. We'll make it through. This is why we don't like seagulls here at the shore. I know the visitors are always like, oh, let's feed the seagulls. Let's not. Let's not feed the seagulls. Because like I've mentioned before, rats with wings. Seagulls ruin it for everybody. All the time. So today is the International Day of Friendship. So let's hear it for my girls. A shout out to my best girls, Megan, Dina, Karen, and Dana. Hope you are all having a fantastic day. It might be a good day to reach out to somebody you haven't talked to in a little while. Somebody that is long overdue for a good girl chat, text chat, phone call, gathering, happy hour, whatever. It's a good day to do that because, like I said, International Day of Friendship. So let's hear it for the girls. Woo, woo. Some other news I have. Melissa McCarthy is being rumored to play Ursula in the live action version of The Little Mermaid. Now, I don't know how they're going to do The Little Mermaid live action as compared to the other live actions. Like Beauty and the Beast was all real people. Lion King obviously was not. It was still just voices. This is going to be underwater a lot, I assume. Again, I've never seen The Little Mermaid. I know. But she was on Jimmy Fallon last night. Or was it Jimmy? Yeah, I think it was Jimmy Fallon. It might have been Jimmy Kimmel. The Jimmys get me confused. So she was on one of the talk shows last night, and they had brought up that they heard she was playing Ursula in the live action version. And she's like, oh, well, that sounds like fun. Did you hear that, Disney? That would be so cool. And then she like winked in the camera. So maybe it's happening. Maybe it's not. You know, I love my girl, Melissa McCarthy. She was one of my Gilmore Girls. I mean, she wasn't a Gilmore, but she was on the Gilmore Girls. And she's probably the most successful of everybody that was on that show. But that show had a ton of people that later went on to huge roles, like Milo Ventimiglia. I can never say his name right. He was a regular on the Gilmore Girls for years. He even went back and did the reboot of it. It wasn't a reboot. It was kind of like a catch-up that Netflix had done. So that's some movie news, some Disney movie news, which we all love to hear about. So I'll keep you posted on that if I hear anything else. Another thing that I saw this morning, more men apparently getting pedicures. What I wonder is, what's taking you so long? Pedicures are awesome. I don't care if they're not perceived as manly. What, you don't like to get a foot massage? You don't have to get polish. Most men don't get polish. You're not getting your toes polished. You're getting a pedicure. They cut your nails. They buff out those nasty heels. And they give you a foot massage. There is just nothing better than those foot massages. Gosh, I love them so much. I'm about due for a pedicure, too. I've been trying to hold off because, well, I've been cheap. And I've been trying to hold off. But they're looking pretty nasty at this point. They're about a month old, I guess. Yeah, I try to get as much out of them as I can. If you recall, I have, what's the name of the polish that I got last time? Always Lobster or Always Love Lobster or something like that. Something about lobster. So I have some plans this weekend coming up where I'm definitely going to be wearing some sandals or flip-flops or something like that around a bunch of people I haven't seen in a while. So, yeah, definitely going to have to get a pedicure in one day this week. And I'm excited because I love me some pedicures. Because I don't care if it's manly or not manly. If it's someone's going to rub my feet, I'm going to go for that. Absolutely. All right, so I'm going to get to my topic. I put up on the Facebook page yesterday, roller coasters, love, hate, or not anymore. And the reason I put not anymore, because Joe and I had gone on one of those big roller coaster rides on the Wildwood Boardwalk a few years back. And I don't think I can handle them the way that I used to. I don't know. I think and I had actually read an article about how like your equilibrium changes as you get older or whatever, and you're just not equipped to deal with that kind of motion as you age. So I kind of gave up on the whole roller coaster thing. It's okay. I can get my thrills doing something else. Nothing intended there. Just saying. That's what likes the roller coasters, thrill seekers. So I initially was pretty afraid of roller coasters because, and I'm trying to think of how old I was. I was pretty young. And at Great Adventure, Six Flags Great Adventure here in Jackson, New Jersey, we used to go every year. And my sister talked me into going on to Lightning Loops with her, which was just a huge loop. But I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. I probably was about 7 or 8. That's pretty young, I think. So she talked me into going on with her. And I remember when we went through the big loop, I did not like it. And I was like, oh, my God, thank God that's over. And my sister's like, it's not over. You're going to go backwards now. I actually thought she was kidding. I was like, ha, ha, ha. She's like, no, I'm serious. We're going to go backwards now. And we did. And it scared the bejesus out of me. I hated roller coasters from that point on. I didn't go on one again until it was my junior year, I think, in high school. We had gone to Florida with the band. That's right, the marching band, Majorette right here. Yay, yay. We had gone down for a trip to Disney World, and we went to some other places too, and I believe this happened at Busch Gardens. And the park was so not crowded that day. There was like hardly anybody there that my friends talked me into going on this one roller coaster, and it did go upside down and, had all these leaps. It wasn't like a huge roller coaster or whatever, but it did go upside down, and that's what I really was afraid of. What ended up happening is, since it was so slow that day, when the ride was over, there was no line. So everybody on the roller coaster was like, go again, and they just kept putting us through it again. So I think we did it like 3 or 4 times. And by the 3rd time, I was like, all right, it's not that bad. And then I kind of got crazy about roller coasters, and I started going on all these crazy roller coaster rides. But like I said, the last time I went to check one out, I just didn't feel it. What I felt mostly is like I was going to fall out of the seat. And that is not a fun feeling. Oh, no, I didn't like that at all. So I asked you guys, do you love, hate, or can't do the roller coasters anymore? Julie says, I never liked them. I was always afraid. Laurie says, I love roller coasters. When I was a kid, I was afraid of them, but my dad told everyone I liked them and was the only one that would ride with him. So I didn't want to disappoint him, so I went along. Oh. Joe says, I used to love them, but my neck and back don't. That's not good. Marcy says, wish I could, but they seem a lot scarier now that I'm older. Well, they're just scarier, too. They try to outdo themselves every year. Luckily, my teenage kids never like them much, so they won't think I'm a wimp. Mandy says, I love roller coasters. I haven't been on one in a while, though, but I have always loved them. Karen says, I love them as long as they only go forward and my feet don't dangle. Jim says, I have, do, and always will love them. Betsy says, I love, but no more because of my vertigo. Right. This is what I'm saying. We get a little bit older and kind of changes things for them. Veronica had actually put up a GIF of a roller coaster that spells out love. And then she says, anyone, the faster and higher, the better, which is ironic because her husband, Ron, said, no, I don't like them. They scare me. So I guess she doesn't go with her husband. Diane says, ugh, this is a toughie for me. I am scared stiff of them. Debbie says, I love them. Michelle says, at one time there was no roller coaster I wouldn't ride. Not anymore, though. I'm content to sit and wait while everyone else rides. Teresa says, love them as a kid. Won't go on one now. Kathy says, I used to go on Skull Mountain with my kids at Great Adventure and Disney's Runaway Train and Space Mountain and Disney World. I was on Space Mountain and Disney World. But anything higher and faster than that, no. I get motion sickness. She says, my son dragged me on Batman years ago at Great Adventure, and I had to lay down for the rest of the day. I was nauseous and dizzy. Well, that'll ruin the day for you, right? Michelle says, I love them. And Linda says, I loved and rode them all when I was younger until I got stuck on one at La Ronde in Canada. It took many years to get over the fear, and now I will ride some, but only if they have a harness. Guess I do still love them somewhat. Yeah. There's just rules. There's nothing wrong with rules. Rules are good. So there you go, people. It seems overall most people love a good roller coaster ride. Maybe someday this week I'll stick with the theme and ask if you like Ferris wheels. I'm going to have to go with a big old no on that one. Don't like them at all. So I'm going to move on to my blog post. I'm going to talk about loving your life. This week, I'm talking about your perception, the perception of yourself, the perception of your life, the perception of how things happen to you. And today's quote is, life is all about perception, positive versus negative. Whichever you choose will affect and more than likely reflect your outcomes. So true, so true. We see the quotes and the messages all the time. Focus on the good in your life instead of the bad. Be thankful for what you have instead of longing for what you don't. We usually brush these things off and think, yeah, okay. Well, it's true. I can tell you, it works. You have to change your perception because, like the quote says, your perception is your reality. I know so many people who feel like victims of their circumstances. They focus on what they don't have instead of what they do have. It is a vicious cycle. I know this because I was in it, and I know that it is hard to break out of. This is why I champion the gratitude journal, why it is so important. Crappy stuff happens to all of us. Some people just choose to move on and do what they must in order to make their life better. Then there are those who just wallow in the fact that something bad happened and wonder why bad things always happen to them. Guess what? Bad things happen to everyone. Everyone. The area that I live in was pretty hard hit by Superstorm Sandy. A lot of people lost everything when up to 5 feet of water came rushing into their homes. Now, I have a friend that has an amazing house on the bay on Long Beach Island. Her house is raised at least 10 or 11 feet. So when discussing the effects of Sandy one day, she mentioned that she lost everything in the storm. And I asked her, how could that be? Her house was raised higher than any flooding. She said she lost everything outside. Her patio furniture, her hot tub, tiki bar. What? Are you seriously complaining that you lost a hot tub and some wicker chairs when people literally lost everything they owned? And that's really what rubbed me the wrong way the most is that's just the way she blanket statement